You want me to put that on my Tudor?
Harry knows. She's all over the place. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. A further piece of video footage to help you understand the nature of Harry's wife and the way that the narcissistic dynamic functions. This time it takes place at an event some time ago where Harry and Harry's wife join some students on stage as they receive an award. It's a longer piece of footage that I'm just going to allow play so that you can see what's going on and perhaps enable you to draw your own conclusions about it before I then provide you with a dissected analysis of it. Here it comes.
On behalf of all the young people gathered here today, or joining us via live streaming from across the world, it gives me great pleasure to present to His Royal Highness Prince Harry and Ms Markle a small reminder of our efforts in living out our peace pledges.
Harry and Harry's wife are attending the presentation of an award, and they're invited up onto the stage. So far, no issues at the beginning, and as they walk up, they're introduced to a number of people who are tertiary sources. They demonstrate they're under control. There's shaking of hands. As usual, part of Harry's wife's hair starts to decide to make a bid for freedom, thus necessitating her to keep brushing it out of her eyes. But apart from that, in the initial stages, no issue. They're directed to a particular place on the stage, which is where they both stand. Now, what you'll have seen is the contrast between the way that Harry's wife behaves and the way that Harry behaves. There are two factors which govern Harry's behaviour. The first, he's well versed in this kind of thing. He spent most of his life shaking hands, turning up at events, chatting with members of the public, interacting with them, handing out prizes and awards. So this is second nature to him. But also, he's able to do it naturally because he has emotional empathy for the people that he's engaging with. He actually does have a genuine interest in them. We know he has strong narcissistic traits, and when his emotional empathy is eroded, he behaves like a brat towards certain individuals. But in situations such as these, a combination of his training, for want of a better description, along with his emotional empathy for these individuals, causes him to be able to handle them in a most natural way. He's good with people. A reassuring pat on the shoulder, takes an interest in what's being shown to him, he engages with the individuals. He looks natural, and he looks like he belongs. Certain polished narcissists would be able to behave in a similar way. Although lacking the emotional empathy which creates the connectivity between them and the relevant appliance that they're dealing with, nevertheless, the way that their narcissism functions enables them to fit in. A combination of well-practiced and rehearsed manipulations combined with cognitive empathy causes the more evolved narcissist to look perfectly at home, doling out awards, shaking people's hands, offering them words of congratulations, encouragement, and advice. And thus, to the untrained eye, you wouldn't think that this was a narcissist at work. Other narcissists don't have that benefit. Some have no cognitive empathy whatsoever, and therefore will look awkward and often behave in a rather ridiculous way, perhaps telling jokes which are inappropriate, engaging in inappropriate behaviour with regard to the people that they're dealing with. Other narcissists have the cognitive empathy, but it doesn't necessarily fire in the appropriate manner, and a combination of a lack of experience, namely, they've not done it before, so the narcissism doesn't really have anything to mimic, and the lack of a natural understanding of the way to behave because of the consequence of the absence of emotional empathy, means that their cognitive empathy comes up short. The cherry picker, about which I regularly make mention, watch the video The Imitation Game, goes off and tries to emulate the behaviours, but often gets it a little wrong, sometimes coming back with the wrong package, sometimes very noticeably so, sometimes only slightly so, often delayed, which causes an awkwardness on the part of the narcissist. They stand in the wrong place, their gestures are awkward, wooden almost. They get in the way, they speak at the wrong time, they talk over people. And it's like a glitching robot that hasn't been programmed properly to deal with the circumstances. And this is what you see with Harry's wife, and it stands out all the more as you compare her behaviour with the much more natural behaviour of Harry. You'll have seen from the footage after a little delay where I think probably somebody's making an announcement. A young lady and a young man come onto the stage. The gentleman accompanying Harry and Harry's wife is applauding, and they bring something on to show to them for the purposes of presenting it to Harry and Harry's wife. You will see initially that Harry almost has to tell his wife, take hold of it. She doesn't naturally do it. Her narcissism is causing her not to know precisely what she ought to be doing. You will see that Harry is the one that engages with the young lady in the blue blazer, talking to her, taking an interest in what it is. And you'll also see that Harry's wife, on the edge of matters, doesn't really know how to respond. And you'll see that she mirrors Harry, because as Harry looks down at the item that's been presented to him, so does Harry's wife. She copies what her husband is doing. Harry then has to explain, let go of it, I'm going to turn it around. The suited gentleman comes round on the other side and starts to explain certain things. You'll notice also that the way that Harry's wife responds, she's almost as an afterthought. It's almost like she's lagging, trying to catch up. And there's a lot of anxious energy about her, which is being generated by the fact that her narcissism doesn't quite know how she should fit in. She's playing with her hair as usual. She's toying with her jumper. She's looking around. She looks ill at ease as to the situation, whereas contrast that with everybody else that's there. The suited gentleman's talking quite naturally. The two students, although they might feel a little bit self-conscious going up on the stage, have stood to one side patiently waiting, and Harry's talking away. Harry isn't pulling at things or twitching, etc., in the way that his wife is. More people are invited to come up on the stage, and you'll see Harry's wife is almost starting to turn into this twisting, turning dervish as she tries to touch Harry, because she doesn't know what to do, and therefore her narcissism is trying to cause her to control him as he's moving around. She mimics his actions, and she finds herself in a position where she's uncertain of how she should be behaving. You will witness how she doesn't seem to know where to position herself, that she looks to one side and then the other, and again then touches Harry in order to assert control over him, to cause the familiarity, and then everybody poses for a photograph, which of course is familiar territory for Harry's wife, and will feel far more natural for her to be able to do this. But you will have witnessed the way that she was moving awkwardly, particularly when the other students came on the stage. Then as the suited gentleman talks again, you will see that there's this attempt to control Harry. And then afterwards, as the people break up, Harry's very easy about all of those around him, turning and shaking hands and speaking to them, whereas Harry's wife is sort of lurking as an extra. Harry turns and waves, so Harry's wife then follows what he does. And Harry politely allows the ladies to leave the stage first. But you'll see in the ending of it also that Harry is far more natural with regard to the way that he interacts with people, shaking hands, allowing people to go forward. Harry's wife looks lost. Now, part of that is because I think at this juncture she had less experience in dealing with these events, but it's mainly because she has no emotional empathy, and therefore she doesn't naturally engage with people in the way, for example, the Princess of Wales would do. Moreover, because she's not done these types of things before, her narcissism doesn't have much to go on in terms of replicating the behaviours. The narcissism would cause her to observe the right way to behave, and with a more evolved narcissist recalls this and rolls it out at a later juncture. But for Harry's wife, you can see that whilst Harry knows how he should behave, she's all over the place in terms of where she stands, how she moves, showing the anxious gestures of pulling at the jumper, playing with her hair, etc. And it's a useful way of seeing how her absence of emotional empathy translates into her behaving awkwardly in this particular piece of video footage. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for watching.